These brutal prisons reveal an unsettling side of the criminal justice system worldwide, where confinement extends far beyond punishment, often into realms of systemic cruelty and severe deprivation. Each prison, with its uniquely harsh conditions, serves as a stark reminder of how individuals can be stripped of their humanity, forced to endure severe psychological and physical torment. Black Dolphin Prison, Russia. Russia's Black Dolphin Prison holds the country's most notorious criminals, including serial killers and terrorists. Named after a symbolic statue, this facility embodies total confinement, with life sentences for all inmates. Prisoners are housed in claustrophobic cells, surrounded by multiple steel doors. Every moment is heavily controlled, from constant surveillance to enforced walking postures to restrict visibility. Mental tolls are severe. One inmate, Nikolai Asanov, mentioned the extreme mental strength needed to survive, as daily life is defined by minimal sustenance and isolation. Kamiti Maximum Prison, Kenya. Near Nairobi, Kamiti Maximum Prison is overwhelmed by severe overcrowding, forcing inmates into unhealthy, unsanitary conditions. Built to hold far fewer people than it does, Kamiti has become infamous for outbreaks of disease due to inadequate sanitation and nutrition. Reports suggest that brutality from guards, combined with a rigid daily routine, has led to failed escape attempts by desperate inmates. This overcrowding leaves many prisoners with little hope, as Kamiti's environment continues to undermine any prospect of rehabilitation or humane treatment. Terre Haute Prison, USA. The Terre Haute Prison in Indiana, home to federal death row inmates, has faced criticism for isolation policies that deny inmates meaningful human interaction. Conditions are so stringent that those confined experience deep psychological isolation, locked away for nearly 24 hours each day. Minimal health care and a monotonous daily schedule push inmates to the edge, underscoring the challenges of life in such extreme confinement. Reports suggest that the restrictive environment fosters both mental and physical distress, diminishing the inmate's sense of reality and stability. Garama Prison, Rwanda. Originally designed for a fraction of its current population, Rwanda's Garama Prison has become a living nightmare. Overcrowding forces inmates to stand for prolonged periods, as inadequate health care leaves many untreated for diseases. With insufficient basic amenities, such as sanitation and nutrition, Garama's atmosphere is one of hopelessness. Despite repeated international calls for intervention, the prison's population continues to face daily suffering in conditions that violate human rights standards. ADX Florence Supermax Prison, USA. Dubbed the most secure prison in the U.S., ADX Florence subjects inmates to near total isolation. Prisoners remain in solitary cells for 23 hours daily, deprived of external stimuli and human contact. Meals are passed through cell slots, and contact with the outside world is minimal. Known as a prison within a prison, ADX Florence exacerbates mental health issues due to relentless confinement and isolation measures. Violating prison rules leads to even greater deprivation, intensifying the psychological impacts of such restrictive detention. Mendoza Prison, Argentina. Mendoza Prison is notorious for its overcrowded, violent environment, with conditions so poor that prisoners frequently suffer from untreated illnesses. Originally built to house far fewer people, cells are packed with multiple inmates, forcing prisoners to use makeshift toilets and endure poor sanitation. Basic health care is unavailable, leading to a prevalence of disease and malnutrition. The psychological burden is immense, with incidents of self-harm and suicide attempts becoming disturbingly routine due to the facility's appalling conditions. Dikar Prison, Turkey. Following a military coup in Turkey, Dikar Prison became a hub of political repression, particularly against the Kurdish population. Torture methods reportedly include electric shocks, mock executions, and psychological torment, intended to break the resolve of inmates. Overcrowding, paired with horrific conditions, has worsened health and safety risks. Former detainees recall harrowing experiences, describing a facility that systematically erodes prisoner dignity through relentless mistreatment and neglect. Camp 14, North Korea. As one of North Korea's most notorious political camps, Camp 14 enforces a brutal punishment system on entire families for the alleged offenses of one member. Inmates are forced into hard labor with minimal food, facing punishments for any act deemed rebellious. Survivor accounts, such as those from Shin Dong-hyuk, depict conditions where brutality and forced labor are routine. With electrified fences to prevent escapes, Camp 14 is designed to crush any semblance of human rights or autonomy. Ghani Prison, Georgia. Georgia's Ghani prison has gained infamy for reports of violent abuse and neglect. The overcrowded conditions exacerbate tensions among inmates, while guards frequently resort to beatings and mistreatment. Accounts from former inmates reveal a culture of violence, with little oversight to protect those incarcerated. Corruption and a lack of accountability contribute to the prison's dreadful reputation, creating a setting where human rights abuses are commonplace. Each of these facilities exemplifies some of the worst conditions imaginable within the prison systems, underscoring the need for serious reform and international oversight. The global issue of prison cruelty and neglect continues to reflect the darkest side of human governance and punishment, raising urgent questions about justice, humanity, and the possibility of rehabilitation.